welcome out to the Nerd in Effect News Show, week ending May 18th. I am one of your anchors, Dustin Vancouver, joined by two of my co-anchors. Nikki is out with a migraine today, so I am joined with the other guys.
Michael Morgan.
Mason, Ireland.
Yay!
Oh, we're still doing yays, okay.
Yeah. It feels weird doing that without Nikki.
Yeah, we did.
That's okay. She's nursing a migraine today. She also won't be on the show next week because she's amidst a pile of stress moving into her new apartment.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But in good news, her and Mike will be neighbors.
Yep.
Yay. For me, because I get, like, food and stuff. Oh.
And fresh stuff.
Right, yeah.
Stuff that will be actually good for you other than Mountain Dew.
Well, Mountain Dew or frozen dinners or, tater tots. I ate a lot of tater tots.
Really?
Yeah. I do tater tots with all sorts of stuff.
I can't even remember the last time I had tater tots. It has to have been, like, on purpose, I should say. Like, I've had tater tots, like, given to me, and I think I may have had some from Sonic once or twice before. But, like high school lunch, like, that's, like, the last time I can think of, really, I've ever purposely...
Yeah, I guess you do normally get fries whenever we had gone to Sonic.
Yeah, I'm a fry guy. I like fries.
Okay, because I actually prefer I actually prefer tots over fries most of the time.
The tots at Sonic are good.
Yes.
I don't put that aside, and I have had tots from Sonic before, but like I don't normally go out of my way to order tots over fries.
Yeah.
Burger King had a thing going a while back when I was in high school, where instead of, they may even still do it. I just I've never ordered breakfast from Burger King in a long time, but they used to give you like the little, they're like their own version of hash browns, but they're like medallion sized.
Yeah, they're little. It's like someone cut a tater tot in half and smashed it.
Yeah, they're like in the shape of a coin.
Yeah.
Or like they're like oval shaped.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
They're
been a while.
Basically, yeah, it's just like the McDonald's hash browns, but they changed the shape so McDonald's couldn't say, "Hey, you're just doing the thing we are." They're trying to make different.
Yep.
When it's the same stuff.
Well, there's only so many ways you can cut up a potato. So,
but they're all pretty damn good, so it all works out.
It's because it involves potato.
And we are in Idaho.
Well, if you want to get Idaho potatoes in Idaho, you have to go to McDonald's or Burger King.
Or Five Guys.
Or Five Guys, yeah.
Oh, Five Guys.
Five Guys is proud to produce local Idaho potatoes. Don't they do that with every state that they're in? They support whatever local potato grower they have there?
If there is one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say probably in California. I don't know if Five Guys are in California yet, but they probably don't use California potatoes because California produces red potatoes. They don't make great fries.
No, but they make great mashed potatoes and cut up, thrown on the barbecue, thrown in barbecue with some like garlic and olive oil in the bag with them and some spices. Yeah. I just had dinner and you're making me hungry again.
I'm sorry.
Man,
put them on a
kebab. Just do a food show sometime, huh?
Oh,
we've talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
Put a pin in that. We'll come back.
We'll put a pin in that.
Food show. Geeky Foods. I think Mike Dodd and his crew no. Maybe it's Mike Blanchard. I don't remember.
Somebody.
I got invited to a nerd food show, basically.
Oh, okay.
So, we'll see. It's on a Tuesday, and Tuesdays are never good for me. Pretty much this is like my window right here.
Yep.
But, maybe that's something we should do sometime. Because Mike could write a 4-page report on Mountain Dew.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
You could break it down chemically for us.
Oh, yeah. Give you a working demonstration of the IV.
This is coming from the guy who, when I first met him when he was living with Dragon, he had like 4 2-liter bottles of Mountain Dew sitting on his desk.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how you're...
At one point I had a shrine. I had like basically where I could have my keyboard, my mouse, and I would set a drink when I'm drinking it. Everything else was piled up with like Mountain Dew cans, and then I had just big enough space to see my screen. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Should have hot glue gunned it all together.
Oh my god, that would have been epic.
Oh, jeez.
Instead, have you seen like you see the drunk college party kids make like armor out of their 12 packs of beer. You can do out of Mountain Dew.
Basically, yeah.
The Green Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Lol.
Um,
I guess we had some news to do too, huh?
yeah, that. Well, we did our little Rochambeau before the show, and I have been elected to go first, which is kind of good because what I have to provide is pretty much just local news. I know we have a lot of local listeners, so it'll affect them. But this might give you guys some inspiration that if you ever want to move to Boise, this might give you a good reason. So, coming from the Idaho Statesman, they are saying that there is a new, actually it's just straight up called the Boise Tech Mall, and it's going to be going in over off, Cloverdale. It's a 12,000 square foot building. It's 3 floors tall, and, it's going to be packed full of, techie vendors. The idea behind it is that, around here, I'm not sure about, other places around the country, but we have an auto mall here that is, it's basically full of different, car vendors like Dennis Dillon. That's the first one that came to mind.
Dan Weebold.
Yeah, all those guys.
Yeah.
All the big auto dealers here in town. And what it does is it creates competition, drives prices down with, competition and try to offer different deals to people. Also gives them choices on different cars like Mazda or Dodge or Ford or whatever they're going to be driving. So the same idea applies to this, where it's going to be one centralized building, which is perfect for me because I'm sick of going to our mall. I've reached that point, Mason. I know.
Finally.
I know. I used to be the worst mall rat in the world, and my sole purpose at the time is I had a girlfriend that worked at Baskin Robbins, and these fools worked at Merlot's across the hall, and eventually became my best friends. And then, after that, it was kind of just like, I want to go to all the stores, I like the window shop, and then it's pretty much just boiled down to like GameStop and Radio Shack on occasion, but that was before I worked there.
Yeah.
I live how far away from the mall, and I don't go there anymore.
Yeah.
Say, I live 2 blocks from the mall. I don't go there anymore.
Yeah. I do like to go clothes shopping there if I'm on a mission for clothes. Macy's is always a good place for clothes. But, there's outside entrances to the store.
Anchor stores are a little bit different because of that.
And Chicago, old Chicago is.
And occasionally I need a great steak, though.
Great steak and potato?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good stuff.
I like Phillies. What can I say? And it's way easier than making it myself. So.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So to put this out there, the plan's already out. There's going to be 29 vendors within, this, Boise Tech Mall. Names include big ones like Google, Intel, AMD, Samsung. There's going to be some local Apple. Did I say Apple already?
You did say Apple already.
Cable One's going to be there. I'm trying to, HP is going to have their own spot in there. There's going to be a coffee shop. I can't read the name of it.
Well, you got to have caffeine with your tech.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's just called the Boise Tech Cafe, so maybe those have some smaller food vendors there. Who knows?
Lol.
Web marketing, Infinity Signs, so those are going to be probably some digital printing stuff there. Idaho Surveillance Systems, basically anybody who's like on the edge of technology, trying to keep up with the market and stuff like that, you're going to be able to go to this one centralized building and just nerd nut on everything. And yeah.
Sticky.
Mike, what was your idea?
The what?
To go in with swords wielding.
Oh, right, yeah. So you go in there and basically just hand swords out to all the people working in the mall and then just yell out, "There can only be one," and watch the insanity that ensues. Yeah.
I dig it.
I had to throw out a little Highlander thing there.
Because there was only one Highlander.
Yeah. And there'll be Nerf. We'll cover the swords with Nerf with, not telling them there's razor sharp blades underneath. One of them goes to hit Bob. Bob gets a big gash in his face and dies, and the other guys are like, "You killed Bob!" And they go after him, and, it just works itself out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look around here, trying to see if there's anything else significant here.
I guess we could get more descriptive about Bob and his death. I mean,
yeah, we could, I guess. But
yeah. I've been watching,
Game of Thrones. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Oh,
pretty right now.
this is kind of cool. The third floor of the building will feature a business meeting area and classrooms for courses offered by the tech mall, ranging from simple consumer classes on how to use smartphone applications to business-minded topics such as viral marketing and how to use cloud services. Panuska said the classes will cost as little as $15 or $20.
Okay, cool.
So if you just want to get a quick one-off crash course on something, good way to do it.
Huh.
Yep.
I might have to take a look at seeing about getting a job in something like that. I could do classes on smartphones.
Yeah.
Mike, if
Totally
you're looking to get a job there, hold on, let's see this. So all you Boise people, there's a contact us link right on the main front of the page.
Not only are we doing news, we are doing a public service.
Yes.
We're going to get you guys some jobs at what looks like it's going to be an awesome place. The only problem is, I don't know, because since it's a mall, I don't know how the mall itself is going to be able to hire you, but you'd probably have to look into putting applications in with the vendors that are going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
So you might be able to do the contact us link. Maybe they can put you in touch with somebody.
All right, something to take a look at.
Yeah.
Find something, I'll post it up on the page.
Also, this looks like it's kind of a one-of-a-kind thing. From what it says on the front page, nobody's seen really anything done like this before. Again, also kind of cool because Boise pioneering something technologically is unheard of. We're not exactly Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Although we have enough sand here, you probably could.
Yeah, it's true.
Lol. Yeah,
Anyway.
Sorry. I was just going to interject there.
No, go ahead.
Now, I was reading a thing a couple days ago about, like the top 20 worst things about being in Boise.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that they mentioned was that the fashions were always, 5 years behind before the internet became a common thing.
Yeah.
Which is totally true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, during the 70s and 80s, Boise was totally behind the fashion trends. It was just really weird.
Yeah. I see. My favorite one on that list, because I did read that list too, was that it is a desert here and that it is dry and your skin will shrivel up and fall off.
Oh, the 31 things to know before moving to Boise?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who wrote that was a former teacher at Boise High.
Nice.
Grant Olson. So anybody who attended Boise High may know Mr. Olson. He was he was just slightly above our age, So he's lived
He was
here.
one of the young teachers.
Yeah. And so yeah, during the summer, weather sucks.
Yeah.
During the winter, weather sucks.
Yeah.
The air quality sucks here during the summer and winter for two separate reasons.
Yes.
Which is just weird. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that was my news. I'm excited for it. Come on, Boise Tech Ball. I love you. Come to town so I may just go googly-eyed over everything and get some fucking computer parts manufacturers in there, like motherboards and
Yeah.
I want to see some computer
We'll see
building
some
stuff in
MSI
there.
and some Asus. And yeah.
Yeah.
But don't forget to bring a change of pants.
Giggity.
Have a special pants changing room.
That might be required. Okay. So, I guess I'll go next.
Okay.
Okay. So, some researchers are looking to create matter out of light. They're going to try and do a practical experiment before the year's out. So, yeah, so all that Star Trek technology, this is the first big step towards achieving that. Basically what they're doing is they're attempting to use a couple different lasers, very, very, very high-powered lasers, to get protons to collide with each other and in turn create electrons and protons and neutrons.
Right.
So they're trying to basically create atoms on a subatomic, subatomic, yeah. You know what I was trying to say. Yeah. But, so they're trying to make subatomic particles out of photons. And, I mean, at this stage, we're not probably going to see anything like transporters or food replicators or anything like that within our lifetime. But this is the first step.
Yep.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see. Did have a few details on here. Get them pulled up.
I'm looking forward to being beamed down to a planet.
Yeah.
Again, not within our lifetime, but
Yeah.
come on, resurrection. Or not resurrection, but
Cryogenics.
that too. But
Blood transfusions of younger people's blood.
When you come back.
Resurrection.
Not resurrection, but like as somebody different.
Reincarnation.
Reincarnation, thank you.
Alright, so specifically what they're trying to do is, looks like they're trying to get a high enough intensity of laser in a small enough space to create around 100,000 electron-positron pairs. Yeah, so still very, very, very minor, tiny amounts.
Yeah.
But,
sounds like a big number for that, but it's not
it's
really.
not. It's really not. But, yeah, I mean, technology.
Yep.
Yay. Keep on moving forward. We love you. Yeah, I guess that's all there is with that story, really.
Light to matter.
Yep.
I've heard. I finally listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson's Star Talk, the podcast. Finally, and ever since that, actually, it was pretty much since that last podcast that we did together, and I was like, he has his own podcast, and then I immediately came back to work and subscribed to it so I could listen to a bunch of backlog.
Yes.
And he was, I think in the backlog that I've listened to, I've heard the topic of a Star Trek transporter come up at least 3 or 4 times.
It's because it's a cool idea.
Yes. And he keeps explaining to he's like, in order for that to work, you would have to basically take matter, turn it into light, and then somehow tell it to put it back together as the same thing on the other end.
Yeah.
He's like, and we just don't have that technology. He's like, I'm not sure what the likelihood of it being possible is, but that's just not going to happen anytime soon. Which, Mike just sounds like he found the first baby step.
That's one of the steps. I mean, like, as far as putting it back together in the same order, that's the trick, and that's going to take a lot of computing power. So,
I always remember the movie Timeline too, where there was the idea of basically faxing a human back in time,
yeah,
quote unquote, and you come over like with your liver slightly shifted to the left or something like that, and the more times you fax yourself, I'm air quoting here,
yes,
horribly.
They're not even in sync.
No, they're not, because I can do it that way because nobody can see me.
I can see it,
but yeah,
nobody can see you when you scream
on a podcast.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah. If you think about it, it makes some sense, but yeah, we'll just stop thinking about that. You were saying?
I just saying I thought that was an interesting concept. I can't admit, especially fax machines are obsolete, so hopefully that they would have.
But so many places still use fax machines.
I work in an office that uses one on a regular basis because we have. I can't even say it because I don't want to incriminate myself. But basically, we just have vendors who have been doing it for a really long time and just haven't evolved into the 21st century. Yes, yeah. Which has also been around for the last 20 to 25 years, maybe longer. I don't know.
Technically longer, but
yeah,
it's the way they've always done it.
Yep.
I mean, I got
except before that, and they did it a different way.
I got my very first Yahoo email address when I was like 14, and I'm now 31. So,
well, that's webmail.
That's still email, though. Like in a form.
But,
so I'm just saying it's been around at least that long for me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and there was Pop email that was around long before webmail was, by at least a decade, as an accessible thing, and before that, even as a restricted thing. So,
yeah, I remember when I was first hearing about email, and watching somebody download a picture on internet access first time, and you'd sit there and watch it one
line at a time. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
14.4 modems.
Yeah. Imagine the porn then.
One picture.
One picture.
One picture.
One picture. Oh, yeah.
Go take a dump, take a shower,
Make a
shave
sandwich.
real quick,
Yeah.
make a sandwich, come back, and it's about 3/4 done.
Yep.
Oh, my God, I can see a nipple. And it keeps going.
Yeah. Well, like, I remember specifically, a friend of mine had an old 8086, the first of the line of, Intel processors, 8086, and there was the 286, 386, 486, and then
I had a
Pentium,
386 back in the day.
and the Pentium's the 586, technically, the original Pentiums.
Mm-hmm.
But, so they had an 8086. We would boot that thing down in the basement of their house, go up 2 flights of stairs to where the kitchen was, because it was like, they had a basement, and then they had the first floor of their house was basically a garage.
Was it a slanted landscape?
No. The basement was completely underground. Except for little, the little 1 foot high windows.
Was it a split level house?
No,
No?
this was just the way the house was. And then the next level was all garage and garage, laundry room, things like that, workspaces for the house.
Weird.
And then the next floor up was the main living space. There was the living room, the dining room, the kitchen. And then above that was where all the bedrooms were. And they had their computer in the garage. The garage was kind of like the kids' playroom, basically. Mm-hmm. And, so we had the computer was down there, and we'd boot the computer because we weren't allowed to leave it on all the time. Or he wasn't allowed to leave it on all the time. Boot the computer, go upstairs, make ourselves some sandwiches and grab some sodas, and then come back downstairs, and we'd still have to be waiting for it to finish booting because of how slow 8086s were compared to what, especially nowadays, But, yeah, it was kind of fun. Just those old computer days where you had to wait for things. And, yeah, he had a rockin' modem at the time. He had a 9600.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Had to hook the phone up to it by putting the phone on the modem. Yeah.
Yeah. Holy Christ.
Yeah. Hook it up to the BBS's boy. Playing the Doors games.
Mm-hmm.
God, I think the only time I've ever actually witnessed one of those, I'd never even seen one in person, but was just on, war games.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that's the only time I've ever seen one where he's in his bedroom and he just goes clink.
Yep.
And it starts dialing up and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, that was back before you could plug them directly into the wall.
Oh, yeah. Old school.
Yep.
So old school, people don't even know what the hell we're talking about anymore.
Yeah.
Again, it reminds me of that Rolodex that Radio Shack used to sell way back where you could keep a list of people's phone numbers.
Yeah.
And then you hit the dial button and you can hold it up to the mouthpiece of the phone and it would make the specific sounds for each key and then you can just hold it to your ear.
Yeah. It'd make the tones.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, that would still work. Not on a cell phone, but on a regular phone, it would still work because they still use the same tones.
It would have to be would it work on a cordless? I guess it would. I guess it would.
Yeah, you just have to have it on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you hit talk before you dial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, the tones haven't changed. So.
Doody-doo.
Anyway, Mason,
Yeah.
what's your news, buddy?
All right.
As we sit here and reminisce about how old we are.
Lol.
Well,
I love nostalgia.
my page went blank.
Uh-oh.
Dude.
Let's load that again. Do-do-do-do-do.
Quick, everybody can't. Hey!
So, how many of our listeners do you think just stopped listening to us entirely?
I don't know, but if they stop, they missed something just completely epic there for a second.
Yeah. Oh, okay. doesn't want to load over 4G for some reason.
Nope. I can see if I can load it.
Okay, you try to load it.
I'll find it here. I is looking for the news story. That would be a mission. Yeah, mine loaded right up.
Okay, mine's loading to a blank white page. Okay, plus I can see it on your phone.
Yeah.
So, in the depths of a submerged cave in the Yucatan Peninsula, they have found a nearly complete skeleton of a roughly 14-ish-year-old girl, and have nicknamed her Naya, after the water nymphs from Greek mythology. And she's approximately 13,000 years old. Now, except for, being in the underwater cave, which wasn't underwater when she got there. All of that's, pretty benign information so far. She is, however, one of the oldest examples of everything we need to do real research on Paleo Americans.
Think she ate a paleo diet?
No. Well, yes, but no. She ate a real paleo diet, not what people think is a paleo diet. Because actually, specifically in this article, they mentioned that, she has, dental hyperplasia and things like that, where it shows that she went through periods of feast and famine. Her diet was mostly consisted of, plant sugars and starches, very little meat. So, yeah, fairly standard actual paleo diet. Here's the big deal with her. She has a nearly complete skeleton, so we can do, and nearly complete skull, so we can do morphological traits, about it. They were able to get mitochondrial DNA, so they can study the mitochondria from the mother's side of the family, because mitochondrial DNA, no matter who you are, comes always from your mom. And they could also, importantly, date her remains. They had the trifecta of what is needed. And, while being submerged underwater, they could not do things like radiocarbon dating on her remains. They could do uranium thorium dating, and also date her by the other faunal and floral, mostly faunal, remains that existed in the cave with her. Cool things like saber-toothed cats, saber-toothed tigers, simulodons. So that's why they get the age of about 13,000 years ago. Also, they can also help date it because they know basically when the cave flooded. So the deal is, some Paleo Americans that they found before her had facial features that were more reminiscent of people from Australia, Europe, or Southeast Asia. Whereas modern Native Americans have craniofacial features, to use the complete proper term, that are more reminiscent of Eastern Asians. By Eastern Asia, that means Eastern Siberia, China, Japan, and Korea.
Right.
They have the, flatter faces, less prognatism, and I could go into all the dental arches and stuff like that, but I'm not going to bother. Miss Naya's, craniofacial features, are more like those features. She has a very unique, morphology. And also there's the mitochondrial group D1, which is only found in Native Americans, which she has. So what they think happened is, because she has a somewhat projecting angular face and pronounced forehead, but has the D1 group, which which shows up only in modern Native Americans, that whatever environmental features caused modern Eastern Asians to have their facial features the way they are, also caused Native Americans to develop those same craniofacial morphology.
Mm-hmm.
But they were actually independent of each other. They're not saying that Native Americans did not come from Asian ancestry.
Right, because the old story goes is that they crossed over from
Siberia,
where it froze over.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't that it froze over. It was that the water was so low that the land was actually exposed. It was frozen because it was how far north it was. But, the land, there's actually, the Bering Strait's actually really, really shallow. So what happened was, it was probably that they diverged before the modern facial features were set, is basically what it looks like.
Mm.
But then for some reason they got very similar craniofacial morphology.
So does this, does the features of this particular face match the faces of those from that area in the same time period? Is that the deal?
What do you mean?
So does her, say 13,000 years ago, right? So if they found a skeleton somewhere in the same time period in Asia, in that area.
Like in China, for example.
Yeah. The features would be...
No, they would have more modern Asian facial features.
Oh, okay.
They're not identical, mind you,
Mm-hmm.
but they are more modern. Plus 13,000 years ago, the human population of East Asia wasn't very big yet. Like the area that is now China, Korea, and Japan was not, well, it was populated, but was not heavily populated.
Mm-hmm.
Southeast Asia was more populated, and Siberia was more populated. Why anyone would want to live in Siberia I still don't understand it to this day, but
seclusion, nobody will bug you,
I guess. So those facial features were already more developed in the populations of Eastern Asia at the time, but then also independently developed later, but not much later, in the Americas. So there was something about the way the climates were that caused people to have those facial features.
So it just evolved over time, or...
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And also, the mutations happened and were beneficial for some reason.
And Native Americans also seem to be relatively, physically larger as well.
Well, Koreans are pretty large for Asians. Okay, not North Koreans anymore, but that's because of malnutrition and starvation. Thanks, government of North Korea.
Kim Jong douchebag.
Yeah. Kim Il-sung and his descendants.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah. So yeah, it was, Koreans can actually get pretty tall. So yeah. And then there's Yao Ming, but he's 6'6".
Still, that's freakishly tall for anybody.
Yeah, he's freakishly tall for any ethnicity. So, but yeah, so they're a little bit taller, but they're also, that tallness can come from genetic advantage, in the environment also. But something about the flat faces, the epicanthic folds on the eyes, the broad flat noses, all of that gave an advantage in the environment, and thus allowed the people with those advantages to breed more. So it became the phenotype of the ethnicity.
Mm.
So I'm kind of interested now in what were the environmental factors that caused both those phenotypic responses in Asia and in North America within a relatively short time period of each other. and made them, stick. Cause like, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but there's a phenomenon called yellow dust in Asia. No one is 100% certain where it comes from. The Chinese blame the Gobi Desert, and everyone else kind of goes, sure.
Why not?
But like you'll see a lot of pictures of people in Asia wearing what we in America think of as like dentist's masks or doctor's masks.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because they're sick and they're trying to not pass their sickness on. That's more common in Japan though, because Japan doesn't really get hit by the yellow dust that bad. But like in China and Korea, you'll see a lot of people wearing those masks, especially during like February through April. And that's because the yellow dust is blowing in and is just, there are days where it's safer to suck on the tailpipe of a 57 Ford than it is to breathe the air because of how full of particulates it is.
That's fun.
Yeah. So they wear the masks to not breathe all of that stuff in. So, and like what epicanthic folds do, which for those of you who don't know, that's, if you look at an Asian person, they have the little fleshy bit that covers the inside corner of their eye. That little fleshy bit may help prevent particulates from getting into the eye and causing your eye to water, because that area is where your tear ducts come out. And like white people and most white people and most African descended people, okay, that's actually all of us, but most, black, as we say in America.
Depends on how far back you want to dial
Depends on how back you want to turn the dial, yeah. Some of us have them, but not most of us. So, there may be just that may be something that gave them protection versus that yellow dust or something else. So, it's kind of those, and, well, there's a lot of America's desert and grassland, so there's a lot of dusts and particulates, so that may have helped they may have gotten it for that reason. We don't know. So I kind of want to see about
especially the Western
U.S. Yeah.
Now, is there, God, I'm going to drag this out, but do Native Americans that are more Western, versus Native Americans from the East have the same kind of deal? I imagine if that's the case, then where it's more desert out west, you're going to see those folds probably be
more pronounced.
And same with the nose features.
They don't. That's like, everyone's an individual, so you're always going to have various levels of any given feature. Mm-hmm. But, to my knowledge, there's no major craniofacial morphological differences between tribes of Native Americans and due to where they lived. Also, they did interact and interbreed with each other on a regular basis, like all the time. So,
it was very much the, like, my princess of your tribe will marry your prince of your tribe.
There were political alliances like that, just like there were everywhere else. People, they met regularly. Like, the tribes traded with each other constantly. They found pottery that moved from, around Mexico City. I don't remember which empire it was, but one of the Mesoamerican empires like the Aztecs or the Incas. They found their pottery in the middle of Missouri because people traded for it.
Because somebody up there went, that's some cool shit.
Yeah, basically. And whether it was traded multiple times or it was intentionally brought to a trading place, like a place where people grouped up and traded with each other, we don't know. But, like the Native American tribes were not isolated from each other. They warred with each other. They traded with each other, everything, just like every other nation anywhere else in the world did. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, so it's kind of, I don't know, it's one of those things where there's no, to my knowledge, no major craniofacial morphological differences between different tribes or different, even if not different tribes, different geographic areas of the U.S. But, there are some, especially like in more isolated populations like Inuit look a little different than more southerly Native Americans do.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is like Mexicans nowadays, as in people who are born and raised in Mexico from the stock of the Aztec and Spaniards, look like Mexicans nowadays. Yes. They don't really look like Spaniards or Aztecs did back in the day.
Right.
So that's kind of hard to judge from too. So, but there are some South American tribes that are still fairly not mixed with Europeans. So, yeah, there are differences, but it's usually due to individual tribal isolation, not due to, not necessarily due to, I don't know, I can't say, I don't know, I don't know what to say. It's usually due to geographic isolation, is a good way to put it. So.
Genetics is an awesome thing.
Yeah.
I dig it. So, I thought my question was rather valid.
Yeah.
Conquer, divide, and breed.
Actually, that last one's the easiest way to change a population is to breed with them. Granted, it changes both sides of the population. They mix.
What was it? I may have brought this up way back in an early podcast, but one with Zach on it. But
you mean the first one?
There was a few with Zach, and then Jake, and then I don't know. I think I brought up the movie Bulworth.
Yeah,
and it had Warren Beatty's character,
right,
who's playing a politician who kind of ends up going into hiding.
Yeah,
but he ends up hiding in like a suburban black neighborhood.
Yeah,
and but there was a line in the movie that was. I don't remember the exact wording of it. Basically, it went along the lines of, it was like, we're just all going to keep fucking each other until we're all the same shade of gray or something like that.
Yeah, same shade of beige or something.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
And it, I was like, great. Finally, maybe we'll just all be created equal at one point.
That's going to take a really long time.
Oh, I know.
Also, it's going to happen more. It's going to be what I actually foresee kind of more happening than that is that there will become a more distinctive American ethnicity.
Instead of just being mixed with basically having like 20 different nationalities. The same can be said for Europe though too.
Yeah, Europe does have, but Europe does have African and Middle Eastern and Asian people in it, but nowhere near as many as the United States does.
Right.
And mind you, by nowhere near as many, I mean the really low percentages, because the percentages in America aren't actually very high. America's pretty white bread when you actually look at the percentages.
Like that was one of the things in our Boise thing where he said that like Boise was like 83% white or something like that.
Yeah. Boise's like 83.6% white, and a fair percentage of them like it that way. Yeah. But,
God damn it.
But, the actual percentages of non-white people in the U.S. is actually much lower than most people perceive it to be. Like here in Boise, it's not hard to notice how white bread America is, because Boise is very kind of normative for America. Whereas like where I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, everybody was everywhere and there was all various shades of brown.
I'm kind of curious as to what they're conceiving as white sometimes too, because we also have a huge Basque population here, as well as like Bosnian and stuff.
They're
like
white.
That. So
they're considered under what America calls white. They are white. They are Caucasian.
Right.
They are European, basically, is what that boils down to.
Right.
We consider pretty much anyone from Russia, we consider them white too.
Right.
Even though most of Russia's actually in Asia. So, but they look like Europeans, therefore they're white, type thing.
Right, right.
Caucasians, yes. From the Caucasus Mountains, just in case anyone is wondering where that word came from.
Oh, I like cock.
No, sorry.
You do?
Wait, not that way.
He likes cock.
He loves the cock.
Oh, and the boobies. I like the boobies.
The poopies?
The boobies. I think it is.
Poopy.
I know.
I'm not gonna go there. No scatological references, thanks.
No fecal philiacs on this podcast, goddammit.
But
Love you, Mike.
yeah. So anyway, I'm broken now.
Okay.
Yay, we broke the Mason.
Oh, but like I say, there's probably more chance that they're becoming basically an American ethnicity that's more blended. But like in China, there's not a lot of room for people that aren't Chinese to move to China. So it's pretty much going to stay Asian.
Yep.
So, Africa is pretty much going to stay African. I mean,
Unless you're from South Africa.
Yeah.
Then you're either Indian or white, probably.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's, but having the entire world blend in bunny ears into one ethnicity, that's probably not going to happen. Or if it is, we will be leaving the planet Earth by that point.
That actually brought me to my next thought that came to my brain it's like, I wonder how human evolution will proceed once we start going interplanetary. Like if we start occupying other planets, like how we would evolve on one planet versus colonize on another planet. Granted, we have to find a planet that's similar to Earth in order to do that, so it may not even change that much. But
we'd have to find planets that are similar enough to Earth for us to live on.
I believe Star Trek calls them a Class M planet.
Yes. So plus have you not seen Battlestar Galactica?
I have not.
Okay. Never mind. I won't make the joke then. But
I know Frack.
Yeah.
I know Cylon.
Frack. How to cuss without cussing. Thanks,
Yep.
Battlestar Galactica. Not Babylon 5, Battlestar Galactica. They were all too proper on Babylon 5 to cuss. But you have, like, the thing is that one, it would be who went to the planet is part of it.
You mean which, like, race?
Which
people?
country?
Which country? Okay.
Yeah. And there's only one human race. There's different ethnicities.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, if a planet was colonized solely by the People's Republic of China, everyone's going to be Asian on that planet. If one was solely colonized by the United States, well, we would send up black people and white people and Asian people and Latin American people, and, we have variety in America. So it would probably be more similar to America or white, because most of our astronauts have been white. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that will change over time, but that's so far the way it's been. But, I don't think the environmental pressures would do much to the humans on the different planets. The big one would be solar radiation. If it's close enough to Sol, our sun, not much will change. If it is distinctly different, like the amount of UV light coming out of that star is distinctly different, that will change the melanin levels in the skin over time. Mm-hmm. Because we need a certain amount of UV radiation, but not too much, because too much gives us skin cancer, but not enough means we can't metabolize vitamin A into vitamin D and stay healthy. But nowadays, there's no real significant environmental pressures on humans to evolve anymore, as to physically evolve, to mutate, to express mutations and evolve in that way anymore. Because we now evolve via culture and technology.
I was just going to say, we pretty much invent our own evolution.
We invent our solutions. Now, we don't mutate into our solutions, we invent our solutions. So, that's why I don't think there would be much of a change. Like, the only notable change that's going on with humans right now is we're getting less prognathic as a species, which means our mandibles and maxillae, the lower half of our face, doesn't stick out as much as it used to. Which is why everyone pretty much has to get their wisdom teeth pulled. Because we don't have the room for them anymore.
No, my dentist said, I got a big mouth.
Some people have room, some people don't.
I know.
And then there's lucky fools like me who don't have any. because we have the mutation. We have both the low prognatism and the mutation to not have to worry about the low prognatism because we don't have the wisdom teeth. So, but, like, I found out I'm not as rare as I thought I was. About 15% of people don't have any wisdom teeth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's actually quite high.
Yeah. And 30% of people don't have all of them.
Does all of their teeth?
All their wisdom teeth.
Oh, all their wisdom teeth. I was like,
30% of the population worldwide is missing at least one wisdom tooth naturally. So, yeah. But anyway.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes. But yeah, there's, that's kind of like one of the notable mutations that we have happening, but it's really not a big deal because we have dentists. So
we invented a solution.
Yeah, we invented our own solution to it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. I think we've talked genetics to death tonight.
Yeah, welcome to you just got a crash course in human genealogy. All because we found a 14-year-old girl underwater.
Yep. Who's been dead for 13,000 years.
Yes.
Kinky.
Probably because of starvation, by the way.
Why in sweet Jesus would you say kinky to that?
Because it was inappropriate. Why else do I say anything? God.
That's what she said.
Lol. So what's our time looking like?
We're
5 minutes away from an hour. Can you squeeze it?
Bust out Nikki's news really quick. Due to Nikki's migraine of death, which I totally sympathize with her. I've had those before too many times myself.
Me too.
We're gonna bust out her news really quick for her too.
All right, I got it loading. Hold on.
I haven't had like a super migraine since I was like about 10 years old, but I remember very vividly what they are like, and it is no fun.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. No, which one did she do? Okay, wait. Was she doing the dinosaur or the alien DNA?
Whatever one's the newest one.
I think this is the right one, which is the dinosaur.
Okay.
Do
biggest,
it.
And if this isn't your news, Nikki, sorry.
Oh, well.
So, biggest dinosaur ever discovered. Yeah, they got a picture of a guy laying next to the bone. That's a big ass bone.
Yeah.
So, let's see. See, this one I didn't even read. Yeah, so based on the thigh bone that was found, it was 40 meters, 130 feet long, and 20 meters or 65 foot tall.
Damn, that's a big dude.
Yep.
And this is an undiscovered dinosaur? Or?
This is a recently discovered bone. Basically a thigh bone.
Yeah, femur.
But I meant like it's not a breed of dinosaur we've come across before.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
So 77 tons is likely. It's about like 14 African elephants.
That's a big bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 tons heavier than the previously recorded holder, Argentinosaurus. I have no idea if I pronounced that right or not. Scientists believe this new species of titanosaur, that's a rather scientific term if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
An enormous
Science has some
herbivore.
awesome terms.
Yep. Titanosaur. This sounds like something from a B movie. Or maybe I'll throw that in a game.
Oh, great.
Sci-fi is going to hear this and go, new movie.
Titanosaur tornado of fire.
Oh my god. An enormous herbivore.
How much money do I have to throw at that to happen?
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So, came dated from the late, Cretaceous period. Cretaceous. Yeah, right. What's that one?
Cretaceous.
Cretaceous.
It's Cretaceous, is it not?
Yeah.
I thought it was the alien DNA story. I'm totally out of my element here.
Oh, by the way, scientists made stuff with using, instead of 4 or 2 pairs, they made something with 3 pairs of
Yes.
DNA coding.
6 proteins.
6 proteins, in other words,
3 pair, yeah.
3 pair.
Okay, yeah.
Instead of the 2 pair like we have.
Just for note, you don't have to worry about these these microscopic organisms getting out and causing havoc because they can't live without the extra proteins, which do not occur in nature.
Right.
So the only reason they're alive is because the scientists are feeding them these extra proteins.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool, huh?
Yay, playing God.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the dinosaur story, though.
Yeah. Big ass dinosaur was found. It's awesome.
Super big ass dinosaur.
So do they know what it's going to look like when they put it together, or they just found the one bone and they're going to try and piece it together as they go?
From what they got, it looks like it's going to be like a brontosaurus type dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Long neck, long tail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically the generic plant-eating dinosaur shape.
Because they got to
Big-
reach them trees, baby.
Uh-huh.
Man, that thing.
And the more of them they can reach without actually having to move their body, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Because that means less calories used.
Mm-hmm.
If I could just stand here and pivot and eat, that'd be great.
I still think it's crazy, though. Dinosaurs, these things actually existed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to think about the size of that. And, you needed like a visual reference for like next to a building or something like that to really put it in perspective. And then think that
The thing about it's
these
bigger than your
things
house.
existed. These things lived and walked around.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's not science fiction.
Nope.
That's real.
Yeah.
Like exoplanets.
Yeah.
Like the exoplanets that they're finding now, it's crazier than stuff that people do in science fiction.
Yeah.
You've heard about these, right?
Like,
Oh, yeah. Exoplanet, they're just basically planets just adrift, right?
well,
not
planets
those
are exo meaning not in our solar system.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Planets that are in other solar systems.
Yeah, like planets that were composed almost entirely of carbon.
Right.
And because of all the internal pressures, basically the center of the planet is just one huge diamond.
Yeah, one fuck off huge diamond.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that, like, on Saturn, it rains diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
That's even in our own solar system.
That's crazy.
By the way, De Beers is lying to you. Diamonds are not uncommon. Just going to put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to ever land on that planet where it's raining diamonds, you said Jupiter?
Saturn,
Saturn.
which you can't land on. There's nothing solid in Saturn.
Well, if you ever...
It's okay. You just need a bucket to pick them up when you go through.
Yeah, you just sweep through with like a rag underneath your ship. Just whoop.
I was going to say, but while you do that, you got to be playing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend.
Or Lucy in the Sky. With
Or Lucy in the Sky, yes. Which would be far more appropriate, I think.
Yes.
Considering you're in the sky.
Yeah.
Wink,
I'd like
wink.
to see people do the burning ice thing.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, some of the planets are weird. Some of them are possibly livable planets. It's kind of cool. We just have to be able to get the technology to get to them.
Well, we can just basically turn ourselves into matter and laser beam ourselves over there. Okay, Gran, we need something on the other end. Put us back together. But that's not the point I'm making.
Stargate.
Lol.
Oh, that was one of the weird ones I heard recently. There's a new hypothesis about the center of the universe.
Oh, finding where the center of the Big Bang...
Well, or not center of the universe, center of the galaxy. Sorry.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
The center, there is a new hypothesis that is stating that the center of each galaxy is not, is not a supermassive black hole. It is a wormhole. So the matter that is collapsing back into the center of each individual galaxy is being transported somewhere else in the universe.
Okay.
Yep.
In the words of Sam Jackson from Jurassic Park, hold on to your butts. In the center of each galaxy?
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That means our entire universe is just made up of crazy wormholes.
Yeah. Transporting matter all over the place. Of course, the thing is that it could be spewing, like, part of the hypothesis is that new galaxies are being created all the time. And what's happening is that as a galaxy collapses in on itself, as they do, that matter is being spread into another part of the universe and coalescing and becoming another galaxy, which in turn gets a supermassive wormhole in the center of it.
Interesting.
And then that wormhole ejects matter into another part of the universe.
So you're saying that basically the entire universe is just on one continual, like it just won't end based on that.
Yes.
It's on a playback loop.
Right. Well, we already know that there's a finite amount of matter. It's just that instead of spreading, like one of the ideas is that the universe matter and energy will essentially become so thinly spread throughout the universe that nothing can interact. Therefore, no life, no anything. And that will be the heat death of the universe because nothing will interact, nothing will be able to cause any form of heat. This is saying that the idea is that the matter is jumping from point to point in the universe, basically. And every time one galaxy dies, another one is born. In somewhere else in the universe. So basically the universe is a really efficient recycling system. So it's interesting. We have about as much proof for it as we do for the supermassive black hole. So until we get something there to check it out, we won't know.
Yes. And that was another thing that was in the news recently.
Or it's a giant reaper, according to Mass Effect.
Hawking had a new hypothesis based on the event horizon of a
black hole, yeah.
About how it's ejecting matter or something like that.
Yeah, well, the matter energy sucked in by a black hole has to go somewhere. We can only see one side of the black hole's plane.
Right.
So, yeah. We don't know. But.
Well, I must think too. I mean, if the black holes are sucking in stuff and injecting it out somewhere else, you'd figure eventually we'd find one of these spots where it was being ejected from.
Right.
Yeah.
The only one we can observe well enough is our own, but we're seeing it from essentially the top.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't see where the matter's going.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So it could be that it's being wormholed way away from us. It could be that it's being sucked in and then just spit out as the basest components of matter out the bottom quote unquote, basically, of the black hole. We don't know.
I heard that the other idea was that basically it just continually sucks in matter and light and whatever it can get its grubby, meaty hands on.
Yeah.
Until it's basically full, and then it kind of erupts, basically.
Right, like explodes.
Like a dying star, basically. Just
right.
Goes kaboof, and just releases it all at once. But that's the latest thing I've heard, I think.
Yeah. But we don't know. Yeah. Eventually one day we'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Yes. Probably in the worst way possible, too.
We're humans, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good at that.
We're good at that, yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, so that's how it works. Death.
Yeah.
What was it? Neil deGrasse Tyson had that joke. He's like, what's the last words that what are the last words that the human race will ever hear before it entires completely? One scientist to another going, here, try it this way. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
No, wait, try it this way. Kaboof. Human race gone.
Okay, I think we've successfully ran ourselves over.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're about an hour in anyway, so a little over. We're good. Anyway, that's for this week's news. I've been one of your anchors, Dustin Vancouver, joined by my boys,
Michael Morgan,
Mason Ireland.
And remember, people, continue learning. It's a good thing.
Yes.
This isn't just news. This is educational.
Yay.
Yay. See you guys next week.